Yo, 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 yo. The first LSU Odyssey simulcast. Although we've done many of these. This is going to be an original series of video shorts where you're going to find us in bizarre places talking about LSU, sometimes even with other bizarre people. Like today, we've got my dog, Rivers, and I figured, we were going to film this video anyway. Why not do it while on a dog walk? What better peaceful way to talk about crazy LSU-ness and this crazy season than on a very nice winter day, early winter day walk? So, that's what we're going to do. Terrace Marshall has declared for the 2021 draft. His last game, his last play was against Texas A&M, doing what he did best for LSU, catching touchdowns in the red zone. This stat is incredible. All right, get ready for this stat. 18 of Marshall's 23 total LSU touchdowns came in the red zone. 5 this year, 5 of his 10 touchdowns this year, and exactly 13 of his 13 touchdowns last year were all in the red zone. I don't think I've ever seen a season like that where all 13 touchdowns that a player caught, or any player catching double-digit amount of touchdowns, they were all in the red zone. I mean, he was beyond a red zone target. He was a red zone assassin. No wonder Joe Burrow went to him so much. I mean, straight out of the gates against Georgia Southern, he hits Marshall for 3 red zone touchdowns. I mean, go back, watch the tape, try and find a single touchdown that isn't in the red zone, because we did. We did this last summer when we were doing our Terrace Marshall profile for this upcoming season. And in that profile, which we published on his birthday, we predicted he would catch 17 touchdowns this year by the end of the regular season, not even counting the college football playoff, which we, of course, predicted LSU would make. Of course, that didn't happen, but the fact that he caught 10 touchdowns from 3 different quarterbacks is absolutely crazy. 3 different quarterbacks, 1 lefty, 1 with a ton of experience who'd never started before, 2 freshmen with 0 experience, and he still made it work. He still made big plays for LSU, and he saved our blushes so we didn't get shut out by Texas A&M this last week. I mean, I will not listen to one damn word about Terrace Marshall being a betrayer of LSU or a quitter, or that he bailed on his teammates. That is crap. And if you say that, you're not an LSU fan. Period. End of story. Okay? Terrace Marshall didn't leave the team because he just felt like, all right, see ya, I don't want to play. Why else? Why would he have returned for the 2020 season to begin with? Why would Jamar Chase have returned to the 2020 season to begin with? Why would Tyler Shelvin return to the 2020 season to begin with? They wanted to play football. Kerry Vincent as well. They wanted to play. They didn't want to go to the draft with their 2019 teammates, which is a huge, huge decision that they didn't make. They wanted to come back and play for LSU. They could have been part of that history-making draft, and if Kerry Vincent, Tyler Shelvin, and Jamar Chase or Terrace Marshall, all 4 of those guys, if they declare for the draft in 2020, this last spring, chances are LSU are not only in a worse spot now this year without Terrace Marshall, obviously, but then it turns out that 2020 draft class for LSU would have been the greatest class in the history of the NFL draft. So Terrace Marshall already did us a big solid by coming back. But all these guys who were going to come back, who then opted out, Jamar Chase, Tyler Shelvin, Kerry Vincent, Neil Farrell, who then opted back in, those guys didn't do it because they hated LSU. They didn't do it because LSU pushed them to the brink, or They didn't do it because of this culture that USA Today is trying to put in on Coach Orgeron when it's quite obviously something that's going on within the athletic director's office. All that stuff had nothing to do with why they left. The reason they left was because it's 2020. Okay? We don't know who or how many people in these families of these players could be sick right now. I'm sorry if I'm, eating ramen noodles and I have, literally $30-40 million just on a one contract. Those talents are right there in me, in my soul, in my body. But I'm going to keep them in check for another year while my family, dwindles and suffers and could, potentially suffer life-threatening illnesses or injuries due to COVID. No, that's not happening. I'm going to take that and I'm going to cash in. We're going to take those talents and cash them in while we can in one of the most dangerous years of our modern history. Yes, that's the truth. You don't want to believe that? I'm sorry. You're just going to be ignorant until the pandemic hurts your family, hurts you. Because it's going to happen if you just sit there and you pretend this isn't happening. This is the worst, most dangerous thing that has hit our entire society ever in modern history. That's just the truth, and we haven't even figured out how bad it really could be. We're still messing around about crying about how many people could be in a stadium when we should just be proud to actually, be lucky to have the damn games. He hates trucks. Rivers, chill. I think he thinks that FedEx guy is an A&M fan. Either way, I will not listen to that. These guys left because it was 2020. They knew they had talents that they could cash in on. They did not want their families to be sitting there in uncertainty, knowing what they could be doing right now, knowing that, hey, there's probably agents right now with Terrace Marshall's family, with Jamar Chase's family, with Tyler Shelvin's family, who said opt out. Just opt out, and if you do, I'll give you we're going to give you a front on Terrace's or Jamar's upcoming contract. So right now, the second that those kids have opted out, and I can tell you this from knowing the facts, seeing what has happened beyond the scenes, this is happening. And why wouldn't you opt out? If you had those type of talents, you would opt out. And let me tell you something right now. As a writer, in today's uncertain society with the creative field, where a lot of journalists are being, pushed out, where a lot of writers can barely get their books published, where, a lot of films, or independent films especially, are barely being able to be made due to the pandemic. Musicians are dying left and right with just complete lack of funding because they're not touring. There's a lot of really bad things going on for creative people like me. I'm sorry, but right now, if some entity offered me the money to provide for my family, to secure the successful future of what I'm trying to do, and they said you had to sell LSU Odyssey to do that, I would do it in a heartbeat. You know why? Because I care more about my family than I do LSU Odyssey. That's just the facts, obviously. If I said anything other than that, you should just stop watching me. All right, I'm a provider, and I'm going to do that. And that's what Terrace Marshall is doing. He's providing for his family. And if you have something wrong with that, then quit your day job, sit at home, and say you don't believe in providing. You don't believe in looking out for your family. That's all these kids are doing, okay? That's all they're doing. It's 2020. LSU has had the worst luck ever because you know what this says about LSU? It says that we have more talent than anybody else. Okay? What team has had more opt-outs? LSU. You know why? Because we have the most talent. We have the most guys who are able to leave directly to the NFL. No other team can boast that type of stuff. No other team can even come close. They cry when their backup third-string quarterback opts out. All right, we've had our number one receiver, our number one greatest offensive threat, the number one greatest offensive threat in college football, and arguably the number one overall player in college football, Jamar Chase, leave the team before the season even began. Okay? We had Tyler Shelvin, our number one defensive tackle and probably the best defensive tackle in the country, leave before we even played a game. Now we have Terrace Marshall, our second number one receiver, leaving the team with 10 touchdowns already in this young season in only 6 games. And he had 9 after 4, by the way. And it's just, it seems like there's more opt-outs to come. It seems like Chris Curry might be opting out. He's had a hard season. He came in wearing the number 18, expected to be the starter. And he posted something saying, believed it all for a fantasy or something like that. And I feel so bad for him, but at the same time, he didn't play well. I can't sit here and say that he was done wrong. He worked really hard. He did everything he could in 2019. Joe Burrow even put his name out there so he could play against Oklahoma, and he backed Burrow up, and he was amazing. And he, above Ty Davis Price, above John Emery, he got the starting job this year, and he didn't produce. The other guys, when they had opportunities, they produced. And I feel bad for Chris Curry, but if he's going to opt out, okay. I just feel like he needs another season to really solidify that tape. I feel like there's not even close to enough there on tape to justify a draft of Chris Curry. And I feel horrible saying that because I love Chris Curry. But if I'm an NFL GM and I'm going to draft a running back even in the 5th to 6th, 7th rounds, I don't even know if Chris Curry is your guy because I just haven't seen enough. I just don't see the violence. I don't see the speed through the hole. I see way too much hesitation. But that could have been caused by a lot of different things. Chris Curry's had a horrible, horrible season when it comes to he's caught COVID. He's been injured a few times. It's been so stop-start for him. And I feel bad because he has some brilliant, brilliant moves where he just cannot be tackled sometimes and just bounces off hits. And if he can stay at LSU another year, we might be able to see that. But I think a transfer from Chris Curry might be more likely than an opt-out. But we'll see. Either way, these things have happened to LSU in 2020 not because LSU deserves it, not because of some scandal, not because of, they hate Orgeron, not because of this or that or this or that. They hated Orgeron, why would they come back? This is all happening because of one thing. This stupid, damn pandemic. No more, no less. All right. LSU Odyssey simulcast signing off. Peace. Go Tigers.